everybody. How are you? Welcome to Impossible Life. Welcome back if you're joining us again. And if you're popping in for a replay, please put hashtag replay and let us know where you're joining us from. And one of the things that I'd love to just thank you for is just popping in for your incredible support in between our different episodes and sessions. And one of the things you'll crack up about if you've been joining us for a while is that today's session is a repeat. It's a repeat in name only. And one of the reasons why we're bringing it back is we're having so many different discussions around this topic. Are we always aware of invisible scorecards? So, one of the things that can be challenging about this is that we're in a variety of different personal, professional, community, global situations and cultures and a wide variety of environments. Got a lot of different roles. And always, I'll admit it, I'm a data girl. And it comes down sometimes to the perspective of how we appear. And one of the reasons why, when we first visited this, I was newly getting certified in trust. And one of the reasons I'm revisiting it are the trust certifications. Because if you look back at the session from February of last year, came down to three parts to kind of break down to for us to think about in terms of invisible scorecards. And one of the things is we are always under observation. I'm grateful for Shelley O'Donovan and for an amazing presentation she did in Thought Leadership Branding Club on nonverbal body language. And another one from fabulous Denise Haran, who's an author and also runs membership. So Denise's book is sales from the sales field, and her amazing membership is Social Sales Club USA. One of the reasons why I'm mentioning these two lovely ladies are their approach to helping us look at nonverbal cues, at body language, and really starting to build that into our consciousness or our awareness of how we're kind of showing up because we don't even think about it. One of the things, and thanks so much for your emojis and for popping in. Say hi if you're not driving or tuning in silently at work, and if not, let's please reach out later. So when we originally did this, hi Lachelle, how are you? Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. One of the things I love when we first visited this, kind of broke it down into three different things. And I made it a formula. And the formula had a different result. Hi, Eugene. How are you? Thank you so much for popping in. And Karen Gunther, woo! How are you doing? Multiple coasts and warm welcome, Eugene and Karen, to Impossible Live. But one of the things about the invisible scorecards, we started with awareness. And what I love was Echo Sullivan, who's a mental fitness to positive intelligence coach. Echo said, I think awareness should be noticed. That the reminder that in awareness, we have self awareness, we may have environmental awareness, we may have all other different types of awareness. And part of it may be that it's really, are our eyes open? Are our ears open? If we are in a diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, or belonging kind of space, are we aware of what's happening culturally around us? And the part that's really hard, and I love it because what Echo mentioned by saying notice was Echo reminded me to kind of build in the and us to build into our discussion the explore capacity of awareness. We think of it as observations. It can be insights. Karen's here. We're going to be in the data lane. And Lachelle, we always talk about active and deep listening. It could be an awareness of emotions that are in the room. And in some cases, of the fact that everyone is carrying stress these days, unless we're the toddler who has no awareness, perhaps, of external stresses yet. But everybody's carrying something. And in awareness, it may be a reflection. One of the other parts that I really liked about Echo suggesting the word notice is that sometimes in awareness, there are awareness months where people are highly tuned to a specific cause or reason behind the month, and it becomes situational. And that, I think, is the challenge of the awareness part. Besides the fact that there are so many different stressors, others, how we respond to different stimuli, or how we show up when we're overly stimulated. And for us, mental fitness through positive intelligence coaches, we talk all the time about our saboteurs. We don't have an awareness of what internal narratives others are experiencing or feeling, and we're not really sure what they bring to the table. And that part can really make the awareness part of this really complicated. Another part underneath this is we're really not sure what stimuli others respond to. It can be challenging if you're a facilitator or you're in leadership or you're in the HR department or you're just trying to engage someone and you're not necessarily sure as you're approaching them, as you're getting out of your car, as you're entering an event space or an office space. You're not really sure of what is happening with others. I think the thing under the awareness part is to encourage us all to really be patient and to be kind to each other and empathetic in that part of awareness, because some are not at the same level of awareness and they're not looking for new information and they're looking for things just to really be really simple. So that can be really challenging. And plus, in a corporate setting or a hybrid setting or remote setting, and talking with people who are reporting to work, reporting to the office twice a month now. And the rest of the time, they're working in a hybrid environment. That awareness can really be challenging because it can kind of feel like, whoa, lights, camera, action. So that part of the invisible scorecards, something just to be thinking of and aware. And another thing, as we're aware, is to really think of how we're accommodating and how we're considering those with special access needs and how we're helping them accommodate them. The second part in originally of the formula, in addition to awareness, and we have notice. And Dagmar, welcome to Impossible Live. Thank you so much for joining us today. And Dagmar saying it straight up, awareness is a key to broadening our horizons. The the interesting part about this is that the next part I picked as part of the formula, and I'd love to share with you, is presence. It's, as Dagmar and I had the pleasure of meeting for the first time last week at a live networking lunch, how we're showing up. Hi, Cheryl. Welcome. Thanks for popping in. How we're showing up, our presence, what we're bringing. And part of this refers a little bit back to what I mentioned about awareness. Everyone is carrying some sort of stress, whether we acknowledge it publicly or not, whether we're acknowledging it privately, professionally, or not at all. And that part of the presence, really think of it as our vulnerability and presence, whether we're showing up. And because of the trust work, and I'm really excited to start a new trust certification with Yvette Bethel tomorrow, is part of it is, are we showing up vulnerably? Are we showing up transparent? And in some cases, defining what that looks like, especially in professional and personal situations. How are we showing up? What are we bringing with us? And are we prepared to come and play full out? Hopefully in safe and really well supported environments. When you show up, are you feeling valued? Did you feel welcome? Did somebody say hi from the second you popped in? And especially, as I was saying before, if you're that hybrid worker popping in a couple of times a month or once a week even, or multiple days in a week, are you feeling as welcomed? And it's hard to measure these because we don't share the survey. We don't check in with others necessarily to figure out how they're feeling or what they're looking at about it. And that's part of the invisible scorecard part. The teacher's kid. And people always say, call yourself the daughter of a scholar. And mom would say, we always needed a pen for notes. Now we have our phones, our tablets, we have all sort of voice recorders, audio, other different ways that we can record and share our observations. But awareness plus presence were the first two parts of what I thought might be a healthy, easy to remember formula to kind of navigate this process of mm, others are basically observing, making decisions about whether they engage with us, about whether, thanks, Cheryl, about whether they engage with us, about whether they buy from us, whether they're sitting next to us, whether they're inviting us into future opportunities. And hopefully, in some cases, if you're an entrepreneur, we're looking hopefully for referrals, for collaborations, for that next level kind of help us notch things up. And Cheryl's really reminding us mindfulness isn't always present. And I appreciate that because in certain situations years ago, I had to realize as an introvert that internal channel that was always below and behind the scenes, the need to decompress in between conversations at networking events that maybe had between 20 to a couple of hundred people. As an introvert, I learned awareness, presence. I learned to start volunteering for check-in. It's one of the really great things I love about event spaces. I can network during check-in as I'm checking people in and then find a space to decompress. Or, as Cheryl's saying, mindfulness isn't necessarily an ingredient that's present in every environment. Some have it, others don't. Some of our neurodiverse, and in some cases, some of our emerging leaders, our newer teammates, our people we're training that need to navigate between someone may be popping up with a pop quiz. You're learning something new about a culture, about a value, about a mission that you need to communicate, that you need to show understanding for. And presence, it can sometimes feel like a demand. The people who are returning back to offices, sometimes it's a command performance, almost that the invitation is your presence is required. And it's a little bit more than just our attention. And really, under the awareness, under the presence, are we really feeling welcomed and valued and treasured? The third part was respect. And the respect part is mutual respect, self respect, cultural respect. There's a bunch of different types, and some of us at different ages and stages, we're sometimes capable of demonstrating them. And when we're being respectful, are we really showing up as respectful with discernment, with care, respectful, curious without always probing, observing, sometimes with kindness, sometimes with silence, sometimes realizing somebody else is in the room and they need a hand or they need help, whether it's technical assistance on a project, whether it's a suggestion, a solution, the need to feel heard, the need to feel seen, and the respect. There's so many different levels of it. Been having conversations with leaders who are in the midst of launches. And I admit it, I'm in the midst of a couple of launches. And sometimes because of that, it can change how you show up. Sometimes respectfully, you're the person who showed up with a question before you even entered the environment. And having an opportunity to ask for that question. One of the things I love to, and I thank you, Eugene, for this. And Eugene had an amazing presentation last week on LinkedIn about niching down. He's got a fabulous 11-minute training for those of us who really are exploring micro niches. What I appreciated was Eugene invited me to his event. And then he sent a message. Hey, how are you doing? Do you have any questions? And the coolest part was, at his virtual event, he's answering questions that he received from people. It showed such an extraordinary amount of care and respect. Respect for others, those who can join you live, those who are joining you virtually, those who may be, because of our styles, whether it's learning styles, personality styles, communication styles, we need opportunities to invite conversations privately. And I think sometimes that's the hard part about invisible scorecards. So much of what we do is really public, and it can be a challenge to navigate between interpersonal, soft skills, hard skills, skills period. The number of people, and I'll say this from being excited about the opening of a new restaurant a couple of months ago near us, and one that we would travel to go to often. What I learned in the process was some of the new staff wasn't always aware, some of the new staff wasn't always present. And when you had a concern or you wanted to give them some feed forward or some feedback, the respect wasn't always there. And that can be one of the challenges of the stuff that we're not seeing, of the behind the scenes stuff. I've been delighted to be in audio rooms where there are chats going on behind the audio rooms, kind of like our clubhouse days, where we can have a conversation, where uh, we can keep those that awareness going, and it's mutual awareness. Someone's paying attention to whether an agenda is being followed, to whether the needs are being met of your active participants, your inactive participants. They're letting each other know what's happening and what's coming up. So much pressure now in how we're showing up, whether it's at an event, whether it's at a workplace, whether it's in life, to just really respond quickly. As I'm listening to the thunder, it's a reminder that awareness plus presence plus respect. In the beginning, I thought these three components would help us lead to trust. And for some, they might have, in a slightly simpler, less fragile world. But now I know that awareness plus presence plus respect equal self-trust. It's something I'm encouraging clients, collaborators, people in conversations about trust styles to really pay attention to what is happening with us internally. Do we have the privacy, the safety, And as Martin Stark would say, in some cases, do we have the courage to share it? As I am watching the lightning and the thunder out of the corner of my eye, I am reminded to encourage you to stay safe, stay well, stay inspired, and stay in touch, and to take great, great care, and to have a magnificent day filled with opportunities and possibilities. I hope that you have an opportunity to relax and chill a little bit today, to pause. And I want to thank you for popping in to join us, even if it's just for a few minutes. And a warm welcome back to Impossible Live. Stay well, take great care, stay safe. Looking forward to talking with you again soon.